The sun was dipping low behind the dusty hills, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink. The streets of the small town were quiet, with only the occasional sound of a horse's hooves clattering against the wooden boards of the main street. Most of the townspeople had already retired for the evening, leaving the streets empty and the air filled with the soft, dry wind that carried the smell of hay, dust, and the faint aroma of the saloon's cooking. Jack Callahan, known by many as just the cowboy, leaned against the wooden fence at the edge of town. His hat shadowed his eyes, and the wind tugged at the long coat draped over his shoulders. He was a man used to the roughness of life, strong, calm, and steady. But tonight, there was a certain tension in his posture. Something was waiting for him in the field beyond the town, and he knew it. A few minutes later, the soft sound of footsteps approached. Jack's gaze lifted, and he saw Lila May stepping out from behind a cluster of trees. She wore a long, flowing dress that caught the last rays of sunlight, shimmering slightly in the wind. It was a beautiful dress, fine and delicate, marking her as someone from the town's well-to-do families. She looked around nervously before locking eyes with Jack, her face a mixture of curiosity and apprehension. "Evening, Jack," she whispered, moving closer. "Evening, Lila," he replied, his voice low but steady. He studied her for a moment, noticing how the dress swayed with every step, how it might slow her down if they had to move quickly. "That dress, it won't do for what we're about to do," he said, nodding toward the open field ahead. Lila frowned. "I don't understand. It's just a dress." Jack stepped closer, keeping his voice calm but firm. "It's more than that. It's delicate. It makes noise, and it could get caught on something. Tonight, we need to be quick and careful. I want you safe, Lila. That's why I'm saying it." Her eyes widened as the meaning of his words sank in. This wasn't just about clothes, it was about trust. And something about Jack's calm certainty made her heart race. I guess you're right," she said softly, though a part of her still hesitated. She looked down at the dress, running her fingers over the fine fabric. It felt wrong, somehow, to destroy something so beautiful. But she also knew there was something exciting waiting beyond that fence, something she had never allowed herself to feel before. Jack watched her, his eyes steady and patient. Then, with a gentle but decisive motion, he took the hem of her dress. "Tear it off," he said. His tone was not harsh, but it carried authority. It wasn't a command, it was guidance, a suggestion rooted in care. Lila hesitated, biting her lip, then looked up at him. His calm expression and unwavering gaze gave her courage. Slowly, she let him help her tear away the parts of the dress that would slow her down. Jack was careful, making sure nothing tore too roughly, that it remained usable in a different way. By the time he was done, the once flowing gown had become a simpler outfit, practical and free of unnecessary trappings. "Better," he said, giving her a small nod of approval. Lila looked down at herself, feeling strange and yet powerful. There was a freedom in this simplicity, a sense of stepping out of the world's expectations. She realized, in that moment, that the dress had been more than just clothing. It had been a shield, a way to hide from who she really was. And now, with it gone, she felt exposed, but alive, ready for whatever came next. Jack glanced around the field. The tall grass swayed gently in the evening breeze, hiding the small dirt paths that led deeper into the open land. "We should move soon," he said. "Nightfall will cover us better, but we don't want to wait too long. Stay close and follow my lead." Lila nodded, feeling her pulse quicken with anticipation. Together, they stepped onto the first path, the soft crunch of their boots, the only sound in the quiet evening. The sun was almost gone now, and the shadows of the trees stretched long across the field. Lila found herself holding her breath, not from fear, but from excitement. She had never done anything like this before, never taken such a risk, and yet she trusted Jack completely. As they walked, Jack began to tell her about the plan, his voice low and steady, weaving caution with encouragement. "There's a lot we need to do tonight," he said. "We have to move carefully, watch each other's backs, and stay alert. It might seem simple, but one wrong step could make things complicated." Lila listened intently, hanging on every word. She was surprised at how calm he sounded, even when he spoke about danger. It was reassuring, making her feel protected, even in the unknown. She realized how much she had relied on others in her life, following rules and expectations. And now she was experiencing something entirely different: true trust and partnership in the face of uncertainty. The field stretched wide before them, dotted with rocks and tall grass. Occasionally, a rabbit or bird would dart across their path, causing Leela to jump slightly, and Jack would chuckle softly at her reaction. The sound was warm and grounding, reminding her that they were still safe, still in control. They reached a small rise, and Jack paused, looking back at her. "Almost there," he said. "Once we reach the clearing, we'll have better cover. Keep moving. Stay quiet. And don't look back. The night is ours, if we stay careful." Lila's heart was pounding, but she matched his steps without hesitation. As they crested the rise, she caught her first glimpse of the clearing, a perfect circle of grass surrounded by trees. Moonlight was beginning to filter through the branches, casting silver patterns on the ground. It was beautiful, serene, and yet it held a sense of anticipation, as if the night itself was waiting for them to make the first move. Jack led the way into the clearing, and Lila followed, feeling a strange mixture of fear and exhilaration. She realized she had never felt this alive before, not in the safety of her home, not in the predictability of her daily life. Tonight, every sense was heightened: the sound of the wind, the smell of the earth, the feeling of the moonlight on her skin. And she had Jack to thank for it, the man who had shown her that courage sometimes meant shedding old habits, old expectations, and stepping into the unknown. As they reached the center of the clearing, Jack finally stopped. He turned to her, his expression serious but kind. "Ready?" he asked. Lila took a deep breath, feeling the cool night air fill her lungs. "Ready," she said firmly, meeting his gaze. Jack gave her a small smile. "Good. Remember, trust me, and trust yourself. Tonight, we do this together." And with that, the two of them moved deeper into the night, leaving behind the constraints of the town, the expectations of society, and the comfort of the known. In the quiet of the moonlit field, they were free. And the adventure of the night was only just beginning. Every step they took was filled with tension and excitement. Lila felt a rush of adrenaline, a mix of fear and joy she had never known before. She realized that life could be more than routine. It could be bold, thrilling, and full of trust between two people willing to take a risk together. The shredded dress, lying in Jack's hand for a moment before being tucked into his bag, was more than just fabric. It was a symbol of freedom, of bravery, and of the night when Lila May chose to step into a new chapter of her life. As the first stars appeared in the sky, Jack and Lila disappeared into the shadows of the field, ready to face whatever the night had in store. Side by side, the moon had climbed higher now, casting a soft silver glow over the field. Every blade of grass seemed to shimmer, and the shadows of the trees stretched long and mysterious across the ground. Jack and Lila moved carefully, their steps silent, their eyes alert to every sound. The quiet of the night was almost magical, yet it carried a tension that made each movement feel alive, electric. Lila felt her heart beating fast. The freedom of leaving the town behind was thrilling, but the unknown stretched before them like a dark canvas. Every rustle in the grass, every snap of a twig, made her pulse quicken. She glanced at Jack, who was calm and focused, moving with the ease of someone used to nights like this. His presence was reassuring. She realized again how much she trusted him, and how much courage she had found within herself just by following him. They reached the edge of a small wooded area. The trees were thick here, their branches forming natural tunnels through which the moonlight barely shone. Jack paused and held out his hand to Lila. "We go slow now," he whispered. "Stay close, and don't make a sound." She nodded, gripping his hand tightly. The warmth of it was comforting, grounding her even as the shadows of the forest seemed to reach out around them. They moved forward slowly, the soft crunch of leaves under their boots, the only sound breaking the night's silence. Halfway through the woods, a distant sound made Leela freeze. A branch snapped somewhere off to their right. She held her breath, but Jack kept moving steadily, a quiet confidence in every step. "Nothing to worry about," he murmured. "Just a deer, maybe. Keep going." Lila nodded again, forcing herself to follow. Each step brought a mix of fear and exhilaration. She had never felt so alive, so aware of the world around her. The cool night air, the scent of pine and earth, the soft silver light filtering through the branches, it all felt surreal. And yet, it was real. She was part of it, moving forward with purpose, with Jack by her side. They reached a small clearing in the center of the woods. The moonlight poured down here, illuminating a patch of soft grass surrounded by trees. Jack crouched down, pulling something small from his bag. It was a simple tool, but it looked like it could be very useful. He glanced at Lila. "We need to get through the next part carefully. Stay close and follow my lead." Lila watched as he worked, feeling a mix of admiration and excitement. She had never seen anyone so calm and capable in a situation like this. His hands moved with precision, and his eyes scanned the surroundings constantly. He was completely in control, and she felt safer simply by being near him. Once Jack was ready, they continued. The next part of their path was trickier. A narrow passage between two rocky hills, barely wide enough for them to move side by side. Lila felt a flutter of nerves in her stomach. "Are you sure about this?" she whispered. Jack smiled slightly, a small glimmer of humor in his serious expression. "It's the only way," he said softly. "Just trust me. We'll get through this together." She took a deep breath and followed him into the narrow passage. The rocks pressed close on either side, the shadows deep and strange. Lila felt the adrenaline rising again, but she also felt alive in a way she had never known. Every sound was sharper, every movement more deliberate. She realized how much she had depended on safety before, on walls and rules, and now she was moving freely, relying on her own instincts and her trust in Jack. Halfway through the passage, a sudden noise made her jump, a loose stone rolling down the slope. For a moment, fear gripped her, but Jack's calm voice whispered in her ear. "It's fine. Keep going. You're doing great." She swallowed hard and nodded, forcing herself to move forward. Step by step, they reached the end of the passage, emerging into another clearing. The moon shone brightly here, and the view took Lila's breath away. Beyond the trees, she could see a wide-open field, stretching far into the distance. The stars above seemed closer, as if the sky itself was watching them. Jack turned to her. "We're close now," he said. "Just a little further, and we'll be exactly where we need to be." Lila's heart raced. She felt excitement and nervousness mixed together, creating a thrilling sensation she had never experienced before. The night felt full of possibility, as if anything could happen. She realized that this wasn't just an adventure, it was a turning point, a moment where she could step fully into a new version of herself. They moved forward carefully, the field stretching out before them. Jack led the way, his movements quiet and deliberate. Lila followed, feeling the wind on her face and the soft brush of grass against her legs. She noticed how the moonlight made everything look silver, magical, and somehow larger than life. As they reached the center of the field, Jack stopped and looked around. "This is it," he said. "We're here. Just remember what I told you. Stay aware. Stay close. And trust yourself." Lila nodded, feeling a surge of courage. She realized how far she had come already. The fear that had gripped her at the start of the night had faded, replaced by a sense of strength and freedom. She was no longer just a girl in a beautiful dress, she was someone who could face the unknown and move forward with determination. For the next hour, they worked together, moving through the field and completing the tasks they had come for. Every challenge tested their focus and trust in each other. When a fallen branch blocked their path, Jack guided her carefully around it. When a small creek appeared in their way, he helped her step across the slippery stones. Lila realized that every obstacle was not just physical, it was a chance to prove her courage and her ability to act under pressure. The night was full of small victories. Every time they overcame a difficulty, Lila felt a growing sense of pride. She was learning to trust herself, to rely on her own instincts, and to work as a true partner with Jack. The shredded dress, once a source of hesitation, now felt like a symbol of this transformation, a reminder that she had shed fear and hesitation to step into a new, capable version of herself. As the hours passed, the sky began to lighten slightly. The first hints of dawn appeared on the horizon, painting the clouds in soft shades of pink and gold. Lila and Jack paused for a moment to look at the changing sky. The night had been long and challenging, but it had also been full of discovery, courage, and trust. Jack turned to her with a small, proud smile. "You did really well tonight," he said. "I knew you could do it." Lila felt a warm glow of happiness. "We did it together," she said, her voice soft but full of conviction. Jack nodded. "Yes, together," he agreed. "And that's the important part. You don't have to face things alone. And you don't have to hide who you are." Lila looked down at herself, at the outfit they had made from the shredded dress. She realized that it was more than just clothing. It was a symbol of bravery, of stepping into the unknown, and of trusting herself. She felt strong, alive, and free, more than she ever had before. As they walked back toward the edge of the field, the town coming into view in the distance, Lila felt a mixture of relief and satisfaction. The adventure was over, but the lessons of the night would stay with her forever. She had discovered courage, trust, and the joy of moving boldly into the unknown. Jack walked beside her, calm and steady, his presence a reminder that even in uncertain times, there could be guidance, trust, and partnership. The night had tested them, challenged them, and ultimately brought them closer together, not just as companions, but as people who had learned to trust themselves and each other. By the time they reached the edge of the town, the sun had risen fully, bathing the streets in warm morning light. Lila took a deep breath, feeling the cool air of the morning fill her lungs. She looked at Jack and smiled, a smile full of gratitude, excitement, and newfound confidence. "Thank you," she said simply. Jack tipped his hat with a small smile. "No need," he replied. "Just remember what you've learned tonight. Keep it with you." Lila nodded. She had learned more than she could have imagined about courage, trust, and the power of stepping into the unknown. And as she walked through the waking town, she felt like a different person, ready to face whatever challenges life might bring, with strength, confidence, and a sense of adventure that would never fade. The shredded dress, now neatly folded in her bag, was more than just fabric. It was a reminder of the night she had chosen to trust, to act, and to discover her own courage. And that, Lila realized, was worth more than anything else she could have held. The night had ended, but its lessons and its memories would stay with her forever. And in the quiet streets of the town, under the rising sun, a new chapter of her life had begun. One filled with confidence, freedom, and the knowledge that she could face anything as long as she trusted herself and the people who truly cared for her.